Spirit Airlines is going out of business. The airline said early this morning that it has begun shutting down operations. It's also canceled all upcoming flights.
I can't believe I'm making this video. Guys, if you haven't heard the news, Spirit Airlines is dead. And this is a pretty massive shift from any video that I've ever done previously. But I couldn't have this happen and not say something about it. I'm actually probably going to say some things in this video that I haven't really told a lot of people in my life. Also, this is our little special guest. I will explain the story behind this plush in a second, but I mean, it's pretty cute, right? Spirit may be gone, but I'm keeping this bad boy forever. So, I mean, where do I begin? I mean, I remember back in 2022 when I had kind of started frequently making trips between Philly and LA. I was kind of living in what they call the Lehigh Valley in Pennsylvania at the time, and I was kind of equidistant between Newark and Philly in terms of like which airport I could take to get back to LA to visit my family. And Spirit was the airline that flew out of both, and I ended up taking a pretty unreal amount of Spirit flights. And every time I flew, it was always Spirit. Me flying, me traveling, me getting to see my family, me getting to return home, going back to school. All of that was synonymous with Spirit. That was the extent of my traveling for the most part at the time. It was going back and forth between LA and Philly. In fact, so much so, I even got the credit card. And I accumulated miles, points, like you get candy on Halloween. And there's some backstory here that I really want to talk about. But I will kind of get back into the whole 2022 thing. So JetBlue, which I believe was a bit more financially stable, a bit more financially successful at the time, they made a bid to buy Spirit Airlines. And Spirit consented to the purchase. And the two of them combining forces were slated to create the fifth biggest airline in the country. I believe behind American, United, Delta, and Alaskan? No, Southwest. Because there's also what? There's Southwest, there's Frontier, Allegiant. I think there's one called Sun Country. So, I mean, there's a number of airlines in this country. I mean, we have more than I think any other country really does. I mean, I remember others that like went out of business and we don't have anymore. I remember Continental Airlines, and I remember really liking them just because they had those commercials that said like official airline of the New York Yankees. And I'm a Phillies fan now, but I was a big fan of the Yankees when I was a kid. And so I remember thinking to myself, well, this kind of sucks. I did just get my fancy credit card, but honestly, if I had to pick my second favorite airline at the time, I actually would have said JetBlue. I thought, okay, I get to combine hopefully the best parts of both of them that I like. I have been on a couple of JetBlue flights, and it was kind of my favorite entertainment system, you know, compared to Spirit, like famously not having any entertainment system, even on the more long haul flights, let's say from, you know, LA to Philly, you know, got nothing. And also JetBlue, you kind of, I don't know if this was a temporary thing, but at least this was when like I flew them. You could literally just get out of your seat, walk down the aisle, and open a little like pantry and just get the snacks that you wanted. You didn't have to call a flight attendant. You weren't confined to like one bag of pretzels per flight. You could get up and like get as many as you want, and it was stacked, dude. It was stacked. So I remember thinking, okay, I'm going to get to see that hopefully, because, you know, the whole Spirit aesthetic is probably going to go away. I mean, kind of sad. The whole, you know, yellow exterior, I think adds a character that is otherwise a little bit bland. I feel like a lot of airlines have like the exact same colors. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like Delta, United, and American basically all kind of have some variation of the red, white, and blue color aesthetics. And, you know, I like something that just chooses to be a little bit different. I like the differences, I guess. And so if you're a reasonable human being, you might be asking, oh, Vertigo, I mean, I can see how JetBlue certainly had some positive things to offer, but certainly not Spirit. There's no way the most hated airline in the entire history of humanity would ever have anything good to offer you. And you, my good friend, would be an idiot. Because, let me tell you something. Quick backstory. I have flown a lot my entire life. I think I first went on a plane when I was like 5, and my parents took me and my brother to go see some of my dad's family in the DC area. I think that was the first time I went on a plane. And I think for the next several years, I would fly all the time. I went on some trips in high school. I went to college in another state and would fly back and forth between wherever I was and LA. And I've calculated, I think, that up until this point, I'm 30 years old, okay? I've taken, I think, 190 flights in my life. So a pretty decent amount. And in 2022, my number was probably like 120. So this is going to sound crazy. And it is. But in the 190 flights I've taken, I have never had any type of thing that you could call an incident. Like no emergency landings, no sketchy things, no engines catching on fire during takeoff. Nothing weird has ever happened while I've been on a plane. Nothing. I mean, I got on a flight one time and they had to kick a guy out. I mean, I actually think that might have been Spirit, which I think actually contributes to why some people didn't like it. I think people didn't like the people who flew Spirit. And I mean, honestly, if, you're dealing with people who are just like rude, obnoxious, belligerent, like, I get it, right? I mean, I don't know how much power airlines have to deter certain people from getting on or whatever, but that's a whole other conversation. So I had flown 120 times or so, and I suddenly, and I can't really explain why, but I got this extremely debilitating fear of flying, and it consumed me. I would think about it all the time. In my free time when I wasn't working or going to grad school, I would just kind of watch videos on YouTube of people trying to coach you on how to get over your fear. I would watch videos of people taking the same flight I was about to take. I would watch people getting on the same kind of plane that I was going to get on. I knew which planes airlines had because I wanted to do the ones that felt safer. And one thing that I liked about Spirit was, all of their entire fleet were Airbuses and new Airbuses. I believe Spirit even had like the youngest fleet of planes of any airline that was operating. And, I know this isn't whatever. I've had some of the best flights of my life on like Boeing Dreamliners, but you just don't hear as much controversy about Airbus. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. Obviously it has. But Boeing is like a company that I feel like people are scared of historically. They're sketchy, weird stuff happens. And I was like, I like the fact that Spirit is like all Airbus. No one really knew how terrified I was. I never really talked about it. I didn't want to be seen as someone who couldn't do something. That's kind of always been one of my things. I've never wanted to be someone who's not like emotionally capable of doing the things that he has to do. Never wanted that to happen. And so one thing that I really appreciated about Spirit was, in addition to just the fleet, they had these things called the big front seat, and they weren't really that expensive. Like, with my card, with my points, I could sometimes pay just like an extra $175, and I could be in the front row of the plane, have a much bigger seat, have basically a deluxe sized tray table, and be right next to the cockpit. And if you're, this is like a little funny, and I'm with you. Like, I understand that this is funny. It's funny that I have this. It's funny that I'm making a video on the topic. It's funny that I cared so much. But, like, you've gotten this far in the video. Hear me out. I historically got nervous or more nervous being on planes when I would just kind of, like, be in the back stuffed like a sardine, and I see, like, all these other people in front of me. And the flight attendants and the pilots are, like, so far away. Like, that made me just, like a little bit more nervous. If I was sitting in the front and I wasn't so claustrophobic, I had more space, I could stretch my legs out, I could move my arms, I could actually, like, do things, I didn't feel as scared. I felt like it was just kind of like me and them. And I know that must be like, oh my god, like that's such a rich person thing to say or something. Guys, I had no money. I was making like $18, $17 an hour at the time. I was a student. I had rent to pay, I had bills, I had car insurance. I didn't have that much money. I would save money. I would forego going out and getting meals so that I could make sure I got a big seat when I flew back home because it made me less nervous. And I think you could kind of tell eventually that there was more financial trouble within the company, because after I stopped flying them so much, when I, actually moved back to California, and now I'm not doing as much domestic travel, they kind of upgraded it to, they started calling it like Spirit First, which they weren't doing before. They weren't calling it first or first class. And they raised the price by quite a lot. And me being in that time period, I wouldn't have been able to access that kind of premium pricing. And I'm genuinely, I'm tired of pretending that wasn't the greatest deal available to any consumer who was going to travel at that time. I'm tired of pretending that wasn't like one of the best things that an airline offered. Sure, there wasn't a screen, but like they started having Wi-Fi, and for me, their Wi-Fi was almost always reliable. I mean, I've bought Wi-Fi on, I think, 3 or 4 different airlines, and they all sucked. Spirit sucked as much as everybody else's. But therefore, it was also as good as everybody else's. And so I miss that. I've never flown first class, okay? If you start calling me a rich whatever. I've never flown first class. And I might someday. If enough of you guys watch this video, maybe Vertigo can finally fly first class. But I would be... my Spirit Airlines experience turned me into... someone who actually enjoyed flying, who got excited about the idea of flying and being on planes, when I was absolutely terrified for no reason. Again, after probably flying 120 times in my life without any incident, and I've taken probably 70 flights since then, and there still hasn't been an incident, okay? And that's not just me. Another thing that I liked about Spirit was in their 33-year history, they never had any kind of like fatal accident. Every single Spirit Airlines flight that took off landed. I mean, I was looking at incidents, and online I was only able to see that in 2024, some people shot at the plane when they landed in Haiti. I mean, but that's not Spirit's fault. I mean, I'm sure it's Haiti. They're probably, like, every airline could probably land in Haiti and maybe experience something similar, as extremely depressing and sad as that is for that country. I loved that, like, they were kind of rated as, like, the safest airline. Believe it or not, in 2025, they were deemed the best airline. I mean, their customer satisfaction had gone up, their delays and cancellations had gone substantially down. By all accounts, this was an airline that was like seriously going in the right direction and was actually starting to be extremely competently run. And guys, I looked it up. I mean, in 2025, Spirit had about 300 flights a day. Now, if you multiply that by the amount of days a year and the amount of days it's been in business, and I know that this is a faulty number because, obviously they weren't doing 300 flights a day the year that they operated. But that is an unbelievable safety record. That is an unbelievable safety record. A generational run. Everyone on Twitter has been saying, what a generational run. No casualties, no fatalities, no major incidences. That's unreal, guys. It's unfrickin' real. And this guy, he was kind of my, like, good luck charm, or I guess you could say safety charm. I would bring this with me in my backpack, my personal item when I would travel. And it's hard to be scared of this, right? This isn't scary. And so it was just some kind of like mild associating, conditioning stuff that I just did on myself. And also it's a cute little thing to have. I mean, I don't think that many other people have something like this. It was just something I took with me. I wanted it to be part of my journey, and I wanted to take a little Spirit everywhere I went. And, as I said in my last video, this isn't a channel about politics. I'm not going to really go into that. I don't know enough, honestly, to go into it intelligently. But the merger with JetBlue, spoiler alert, was blocked. They did not become the 5th biggest airline in the country. And, because of the desire for more consumer choices and antitrust stuff, it didn't happen. But Spirit was looking bright anyways. Its future was looking bright anyways. And so now, with disasters that are currently happening, and oil prices being what they are, unfortunately, this is a casualty. I mean, sometimes you can't really predict the free market. Maybe it would have been better for, Spirit and JetBlue to combine forces. Maybe they actually could have combined the best of both possible worlds. Maybe JetBlue could have adopted some kind of, Spirit big front seat option, like right there in the front. That's where I would have wanted to be. That's my home. I felt so at home there, guys. And I'm happy to say that I can travel without a lot of fear now. I get a little nervous. I think the appropriate amount. I don't think I'm dying. I don't panic. I used to, literally, I used to have panic attacks when, the engine would, really ignite when you're about to take off. And then you start moving and increasing speed, and you're just, preparing for the plane to lift off of the ground. There were multiple times where I had, genuine panic attacks. My chest hurt. I couldn't breathe. And I was so scared. When I would leave from Pennsylvania, I'd be like, oh shit, I have to do that another time before I can come back. Or when I would leave California, I would be like, oh my God, I have to do that another time before I come back. And it's over. And sure, what helped me really get over it was my own introspection, my own work, my own therapy. But I would be lying if I said that Spirit Airlines didn't have a big factor to play in my own healing. It was the perfect thing for me at that part of my life. I don't do as much domestic traveling anymore. I do a bit more international, as you can kind of see by the other videos that I've done. But it was a perfect storm. I needed someone who was going to make me feel comfortable. I needed to feel taken care of when I did something that I thought was scary, which was board some kind of flying washing machine, hoping to land 3,000 miles away so I could see my family. And they did that for me, and I didn't even have to pay that much. The $175 that I sometimes paid for my big front seat was usually more expensive than the actual ticket itself. My total per flight would sometimes just be $250, $260. And with how many points I was accumulating, I got so many free flights. I got so many. I mean, maybe 3 or 4, honestly. So Vertigo is going to have to pick a new airline. I'm going to have to have an allegiance. I'm a person of loyalties. I kind of like having my things, my core things. And I don't know, maybe JetBlue is going to be my new thing. There's a new airline called Breeze that's kind of I think trying to be Spirit but better. Who knows? Maybe I'll become a Breeze person. But also, guys, and I will put a link to this in the description, but there is actually a petition going around, or a pledge going around, that's started by this guy named Hunter Peterson, and he's trying to basically recruit a bunch of people so that we could all buy Spirit. It could all be this co-op. And a co-op is a model that does work for other kinds of companies. And so I've already pledged. I am down to pay $45, which was apparently the average price of a Spirit flight, to be a part owner of Spirit Airlines. And if you guys are interested in the chance of keeping this company alive and it being a good option for travelers who aren't interested in paying a lot of money, I mean, go for it. I encourage you. I think last time I checked, the pledges were paused because the website kind of broke, because so many people are invested in this at this point. I would obviously be extremely happy if this happens. I've already done my own amount of mourning and all that, and I'm at peace with whatever happens. My life will be fine. It will continue as normal, and I will be okay. Spirit, thank you so much for existing. Thank you so much for creating a model of air travel that all these other companies copied, and yet they get to live on and you suffer. Thank you for everything. Thank you for thinking of me, even if you weren't actually thinking of me. Thank you for wanting to be a little bit different. Thank you for adding another option to the mix when everything was otherwise bland and standard and typical. Thank you. And thank you to all you people who were also fans of Spirit. I have never really met anyone who was as enthusiastic about them as me. And, if Spirit had 1 million fans, I was one of them. If Spirit had 100 fans, I was one of them. If Spirit had 1 fan, that was me. If Spirit had no fans, I was no longer on this earth. Thank you, guys. Thank you for watching. Peace. And another thing, I don't really know how many of you out there are going to relate to this, but I actually discovered buzzballs through Spirit. I would actually have a routine where like getting a buzzball was always part of my Spirit experience. And I remember being just like really shocked when I went to like the corner store near my apartment in Philly. And I'm like, oh my God, that's not just a Spirit thing? Like other places have them? And so also, having like a routine, having something familiar, I mean, that helps calm your nerves. That helps you, not panic. If something's familiar, it's safe. And our brain is really good at recognizing familiar. Sometimes not so great at recognizing safety. So it's just like those little things that were really important to my routine that I just really liked having.